Dive to the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots.
With Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo is your source for all the news and information following every Patriots game.
Hand off to Stevenson. Runs it left, big hole across the 40. Cuts left at the 45. And steamrolls the defender there.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Slipping and sliding, he was like a cat. Pop, pop, bang. Oh, I was really hoping they were going to pull that one out.
It's a tough loss.
Wait, did they lose? Let me double check.
They lost, right?
Okay, yes. Welcome into the Patriots Postgame Show, the third and final postseason game, mercifully, or preseason game, I should say. The preseason is over with a unfortunate 23-7 loss to the Titans in Tennessee. Welcome in. Join us early and often, 833-PATS-500. Email webradio@patriots.com as we get ready to break down the important parts of this game tonight, and we will do so as time allows. We may not have enough time to get to all that we need to get to for
Let's
this
just keep going. Let's just keep going, Hardy.
third and final preseason game. We'll go. You know what? We'll go as long as we have to. But
yeah, not much, and not a minute longer.
And
woof.
There were some things that happened tonight, and we'll get to them all.
Yeah.
We will hear from the head coach, and Paul, Mike, and I are here to talk to you. Again, 833-PATS-500, webradio@patriots.com.
Get those calls coming.
That's right. That's right. Gentlemen, any initial thoughts before we get to the good, bad, and the injured?
Just not a lot to take away. I mean, there's a couple guys to highlight.
Yeah,
but,
there's individual stuff that you could talk about, but I mean,
what a gross game.
Team-wise, they played awful.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'm not all that concerned about it. But there are some things. I find it fascinating that Bailey Zappi stayed out there down the stretch, and I think it was because they weren't happy with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be reading into body language and whatnot, interactions on the sideline. I found it very interesting. I know Zoe was harping on it. I wanted to sort of get in on that, but I wasn't able to. Just, you don't really see that. Guys come out of the game. You might go back in. Like they used to do that with Brady a little bit.
Miami.
Like, end of the first half, they would take him out, and then they would start the second half, but not necessarily with a backup. So I thought, McSorley, I figured, would play the fourth quarter of this game, and he got his couple of series, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then they went back to Zappi. I thought that was, curious.
I said to Deuce, may have been the first or could have been the second offensive series the Patriots had tonight. I said, we may not learn anything meaningful about the offense tonight. And I think we did later on get a couple of things, but if anything, I think it was a night where you could get some things.
You're right.
You could discern a few things about the defense and special teams maybe, but offensively, I don't know what you take away from that tonight. I really don't.
Probably just Riley Reif maybe getting hurt. That's probably the only real significant takeaway of that. Like that might actually affect the regular season. I mean, we'll get into the good, bad, and injured, but a couple little flashes, but not like, oh, what a great performance.
Certainly not offensively.
Yeah, I mean, one or two plays.
And just with who's out there and how they were playing and what the plays that they ran, I'm like, I don't know if we're going to learn anything.
Can I just say, this is a total non sequitur. It has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about, and it won't be in the good, bad. If you're Mike Vrabel tonight, this is not things that keep me up at night or anything like that. But if you're Mike Vrabel tonight, what is the purpose of starting Ryan Tannehill and having him hand the ball off 3 times in a row?
I can't
even posit a guess.
Those were the 3 most basic turner. I felt like I was in high school. Power I right, 22 lead. It's on 1. It's on 1.
Come on,
Let's
Ryan.
go. Ready?
You're our starter.
That's what it looked like to me. Like the 3 most basic up the gut running plays for nothing, and then Tannehill's done.
Yeah.
Why bother?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He had a better chance of turning an ankle on one of those handoffs than he, just if you're not going to play him. I thought maybe they wanted to have him throw a couple of passes. I don't
No.
get it. It just was odd to me.
Weird.
Means nothing, but just kind of strange.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Here we go, man.
Now it's time for the good,
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
the bad,
Hey, what happened?
and the injured.
You all right, guy?
Good, the bad, and the injured, brought to you by the good players, the bad players, and unfortunately a couple of injured players. First good on your list, Mike Dussault. Come on, what was really good?
Let's go, Calvin Munson.
Yeah,
had
right
an
on.
interception.
Was I a little too heavy on Calvin Munson during the broadcast?
Well,
No.
Paul, you didn't really have a lot to work
You
with.
gotta
I mean,
talk
you're
about
kind of playing the
something.
one note. I mean, it's
Play the hits, man.
Be the Pete Townsend solo, and I can see for miles. One note. Just play the hell out of it.
I think he's one of those guys you don't really ever pay much attention to until it gets to this time of year and you realize, all right, there's going to be some special teamers and some backups. But, I mean, just contrast him with what we saw from Mac Wilson last week of, this is a guy who made some plays and, got around some tackles, got it in the backfield. So I kind of assumed he would be one of those guys that would probably be on the roster. But I think he's probably locked up a spot, at least as a special teamer and maybe as a, fill-in linebacker like Paul was saying on the broadcast.
I don't know if he played an awful lot for a guy who's on the team tonight. But, I mean, I brought it up early. We talked about it on Tuesday on the show. Like, that Mac Wilson thing, to me, doesn't seem like a sure bet. Now, again, that's why they're called surprise cuts.
Yeah.
Because you're not saying the guy's going to get cut. You just kind of think he could be a surprise. But, yeah, Munson was really good in this game. He had one egregiously bad play on the long run. He got caught inside and then got walled off. But I thought he looked like he has some ability to be a backup. I'm not calling him a sub linebacker, a backup linebacker.
Yeah.
Break glass in case of emergency type. Maybe he's not as good at that as Mac Wilson is, but maybe he showed he is competitive with Mac Wilson in that regard, and I think he's really good on special teams. I wouldn't be surprised if he earns a special team spot. We talked about Amir Speed. Might not be quite ready for one of those specialist kind of jobs. I don't know. But, yeah, I agree with Mike. Calvin Munson had a very, very good night for himself.
Yeah, he flashed early. I had him down for like 3 more really positive plays, and he's in on 10 tackles, 6 of them solo, and that's just active. You see him a lot. You're talking about him a lot. Okay, that's in the final preseason game. That's what you want to do for a player like that. What goods do you have there, Paul?
I also had Sam Roberts. I thought was they made a comment about him during the game, like kind of reminded them of Trey Flowers, like that kind of build. I think he's more athletic than Trey Flowers. I think he runs better. He's big.
He's bigger than Trey
and he
Flowers,
moves.
I think,
Now, I don't know if there's a spot for him. I don't know if he's consistent enough. I don't know exactly what he does. He's one of those guys that looks like he's active on the defensive line, but is he a pocket collapser? Is he a run stuffer? Is he exactly what he does best? But I thought, another guy that played a ton of snaps tonight, those guys generally don't stay. Maybe he's a practice squad guy, but I thought he had a strong night. What do you have for stats? You got your stats open there?
I do, and I was just going to say Mike Dussault had a very obscure movie reference on the one play where he jumped offside. What did you yell, Mike?
Sam. Little Lord of the Rings. Sorry, Paul. A little nerdy.
No, Sam.
Sam, no. You are great. He had 7 total tackles, 4 solo, sack, 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for loss.
That's a good night for a defensive lineman.
I like your point though, Paul. How does he fit exactly? And is he really a threat to Lawrence Guy? Could he you know what I mean? Could he push one of the older dudes out of there? Carl Davis. I saw you mentioned Carl Davis. He's not a nose tackle, but it's just they're kind of old on that defensive front. They've been running those. This is 3 years in a row, kind of same 4 or 5 guys right up front, Wise, Godchuk, etc. So I think it would be a positive sign just to get someone like Sam Roberts just to emerge and get him into a rotation. And, at some point you got to start building for the future a little bit there along the defensive line. So maybe they found a little bit of a gem in him. I'd love to see him stick around because I think they could use the depth and certainly the youth at that spot.
I'm going to use the one offensive series of the night, just to get one good on the list. And there were the 2 plays after, one of the injuries that we'll talk about here later. But It was the Pitts run, which I think totaled 23 yards.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, dragging some people.
It was kind
I'm
of
not sure if you were watching the broadcast, but we may or may not have shown that play 116
That
times.
was the
I
only
believe it was
offensive highlight of the night.
I believe it was the drive of the game as well. And
It's
then
the only drive.
well, finished off with the Kevin Harris touchdown run. Okay, as Bob and/or Zoe and/or you, Paul, said, you're not going to have an easier lane to the end zone than he did, so it wasn't like anything special. The push and the drive and everybody getting involved there was kind of
It's a feel-good moment for
was kind of
everybody.
like LeGarrette Blount, except Blount kind of used to do it on his own. He didn't necessarily need, three offensive linemen pushing him.
Yeah,
But
and you know what it is, though, to your point, Hardy? It's a young guy, fighting to try to make a roster, and he's out there in his last game. He knows, these guys aren't dumb. They know what's on the line.
Yeah.
For a lot of these guys, this might be their last game that they ever play.
Yeah,
They
right.
could get released tonight, Tuesday, and not hook on anywhere again, and this chapter of their life is over. That's the way he ran on that play.
Yeah, yeah.
This could be the last time I ever have the ball in my hand.
Yeah.
And if it looks like a rugby scrum, well, I can't do anything about that. All I know is I'm going to try and make the most of the reception and pick up the yards afterward. And if you want to find like the real bright spot in that drive, the Kevin Harris touchdown run, I think the offensive line opened up a hole for him.
Chasing Hines.
Yeah. So okay, there you go. There's a good. I'll put him on the. I'll put that little drive on the good list.
I appreciate you because I was running out of
Appreciate
goods. I'm running out of goods.
Yeah.
But I still had Anthony Jennings, and I think he continues to come on. He looks like a different. I don't want to say a different player, but he looks like he's made some serious strides this year. Just some nice moves along the offensive line to get around tackles, a little bit of savvy. I think he's always been a good run stuffer. He's a big guy. He can set the edge, but I think the big concern was, can he make any impact on the quarterback? And I think we've seen a little bit of that here. I don't know how it would go if Judon were to go down and he'd be forced into full-time kind of service in there, but I like what he's shown.
I think it's a great point, Mike. And what I'm wondering, one of those intake development kind of things that I don't know. I want to see him do it in the regular season. I'm not going to anoint him until I see him do it for real. I kind of like his game better than Uche's because I think Uche's a much better pass rusher, pure edge rusher. But I think Jennings is a better all-around player. I think he can rush the passer. I think Uche's better at it. But I think Jennings is far superior setting the edge, being physical, and playing the run.
Playing the way they want. He's he was one of the guys that, when you talk about the big boards, this is he's their kind of guy. It was, an Alabama guy who's big and can play on the edge. I think as a rookie, they played him a little bit inside, and he looked lost around there. Was hurt last year, but, he's come back, and he's looking good. So kudos to him.
I had him on my list as well. And the other, fairly recent draft pick that I had tonight was Ronnie Perkins.
Yeah.
I thought, projectile vomit aside, I thought he had a strong night.
And trip to the blue tent aside, of course, that's an annual
that's
visit.
coming up later. No, well, you know what that was.
Cramping?
Concussion.
Oh, God. Really?
He got his head. Now, hopefully, he looked like he really was upset to have to go to the blue tent. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping he was okay.
Yeah, they just
and it was
tested
just
him
one of those automatic, he has to go there. But, yeah, looked like he got, as he was in on that tackle, his head snapped back. He got some contact there.
I could feel the urgency from him tonight, and I think he really needed it. He really needed it. This is as much as you've seen out of Ronnie Perkins in 3 years, and I'm including practices. And I just think he showed good pursuit. He just good
this
energy.
Is the play
this
right
is the
here.
play. Yeah.
Now, if they see how he went down.
Yeah, kind of
watch right his head. Boom.
Yeah.
His head goes back, and then he just goes down, kind of prone.
Kind of rolls. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see it from this angle. See his head kind of impact, and then he was mad. So he's not dealing with any,
Yeah, well, he's got to be feeling what we feel. It's like I've been doing everything I can to get on the field. I finally get a chance tonight, and here I am again. I get
could
banged
lose a
up
week,
again. Yeah.
a week and a half, whatever. Pierre Strong missed 4 practices in a game because he was in concussion protocol. That can happen to these guys. So yeah, I can feel the frustration there. But I felt like he was really active in the game. I made the comment that you just said We haven't really seen it. This was the most active I've seen him in the 3 years that he's been on the Patriots, practices included.
And it felt like a now or never moment for him a little bit. I mean, a couple guys, but he certainly seemed to seize it as much as he could.
More goods? Anybody? Paul?
I'll just say it's kind of but I like just how the run defense came out initially. Like they seemed they kind of had something to prove.
I thought I think we should have mentioned that from the start.
So I put Stout pick 3.
I think the run defense in general though is very good.
But even though it was a fumble, I used Hardy's mentality.
I appreciate that.
He took over at the 5-yard line and they didn't get in.
Yeah.
You know, I think Munson started that with the tackle for loss, like a 4-yard loss.
Can we put Behringer on there for his 69-yard punt?
Is that the one that was a touchback?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
I believe it was. He did have one to the 9-yard line.
I noticed everybody left that part out of the tweeting.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't see anybody say 69-yard punt.
69.
Okay, so we'll leave him off then.
No, you don't have to leave him off. I was just commenting on.
Wasn't perfect.
He's already off. He's not on the good list.
Now, I thought both guys had some bombs tonight. You know, Waitman had a couple of good ones too, but Behringer's got the
Waitman had one of 53. Yeah, so
he's got a big leg, Behringer,
and he kicks it hard too.
Wow. Let's get to the bads, shall we?
Oh boy.
You want to lead us off there, Mike?
The Zappy. I mean, as Paul kind of alluded to, played a lot, and I think it was Zoe was saying on the broadcast, and that was what he just never got into a rhythm. Like the throws were off, they're behind guys, they're in front of guys.
That's the first one of the night, if I'm not mistaken. We're just showing the little
Sokol,
It's a little throw to Sokol. Watch here if you can see how the nose of the ball is up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just kind of floated out, and you don't see NFL guys do that very often.
No.
Now, the ball probably should have gotten caught, but it's going to get caught short of the first down anyway.
Instantly.
I didn't think that they did much to help him tonight in terms of getting open and making plays, but he wasn't good.
No.
He was 8 of 15 for 57 yards.
And more importantly than
4 sacks, 3 balls on the ground.
The ball security, that's an issue.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard to watch this game and think that we were kind of like, is there Mac and Zappy? Is this not to say that Mac has been amazing, but this didn't.
Well,
I
would just say,
good.
I would like to see Mac out there with all of this and see how it looks.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that's all.
Cunningham and Dyrick.
I think at the very least, I think Mac would do a better job of getting rid of the ball when the play breaks down and there's nowhere to go and the pocket has collapsed. I think Mac would either secure the ball or get rid of it, and Zappy just doesn't seem equipped to do that.
Mackey's one of the. Zappy's one of those guys that's looking to make a play all the time.
Yeah, and that's
whereas Mac pulls the plug.
That's what I was disappointed about, though, is just that you kind of have a chance tonight to just make a play, and he never really did.
Which I thought their guy did.
Yeah.
Their second year guy did. And I know he's a different skill set, but I thought Willis did a good job of that after a shaky start. But yeah, I agree with Mike. I had Zappy down. I said loose with the ball, fumble. Then I just wrote 4-0. Like they had no offense.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they have 40 yards at the half?
I mean,
23 of them on that bulldozer play by Pitts.
8 first downs the whole game.
What do you got on your first on your bad list there, Paul?
So the only one I really have on my bad list that is, semi-relevant. I don't think Jack Jones played very well tonight.
That's my
he had obviously
number one.
He had the big PI, which he got caught out of position. I don't think his coverage was terrible on that play, but he did get initially beaten. I thought he was kind of shaky on run support a couple of times. Now he shot into the backfield a couple of times and made plays before guys could really get their hands on the ball. You know, but I thought he was a little soft on the edge a couple of times. And then
stiff arm.
And I think there was the stiff arm was that was impressive. That was TJ's guy, Tajay Spears.
And again, if you're watching that game from a Titans perspective, you don't think about your corner getting stiff armed there. You just think about, what a great play my guy just made and how strong he is.
That play right there that we just showed was the one I was more sort of concerned about. And I know they looked like they played a lot of zone tonight. Again, on TV, it's kind of hard sometimes. But he was running through, and I say this all the time. Everybody kind of just looks at zone, and they go, well, it's zone. It's zone. Well, it's man within your zone. There's somebody that runs into your zone that you're responsible for. And I think that's Jack Jones based on how close he is to being the first guy to make the tackle. So, yeah, this is not good coverage right here.
And I think they gave him a little too much credit on the PI on the broadcast. Zoe said that, well, he never turns his head around here, and that's going to get called every time. He did turn his head around. The problem was he had already initiated contact. He turned his head around.
Right.
And, he just never
He hit
let
him.
go.
Like, this was one, last week we were all very defensive of Gonzalez on that. It was a similar play, but I don't think that Gonzalez made this level of contact.
No.
That Jack Jones did. This one has to get called.
Yeah. I mean, he
just hits him.
But you can see in the moment before the ball gets there, he actually does turn around to look. You can see it right here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. All right, so Jack Jones and everyone's bad list there.
What did you make? Can we, for one quick second, Hardy? What did you guys make of the amount of playing time he got? He played a lot.
Jack Jones.
Yeah, I thought he played the whole first half.
I said something in here, and Tamara says I'm crazy, and Mike thinks I'm crazy too. Paul, you can think I'm crazy. He'll make the roster. I don't know how long he's with this team.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
I
totally agree with you.
I said he may not make the team, and Mike's like he will.
Oh,
Tamara's
wait,
like,
flat out make the team?
Yes, but I
think
don't
he'll
know,
make the team.
What I really
He's
mean
not
is
long
I
for
don't
the team.
I don't know how long he's going to be around.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I would push back on you being crazy on that.
No, I don't think you're crazy on that. I just think he'll probably make the team. I mean, I kind of look at it almost as a numbers thing. Just
They
based
need
on
a-
the
they need him
injuries. I mean,
numbers-wise.
Mike,
they had four.
that's
four
why he's
corners.
still here.
They got four corners tonight.
Absolutely.
They had four
But
corners
if
tonight.
they really liked him, he wouldn't be playing that much in this game.
No, but like you could play the Randalls, the Mosleys more than you did tonight.
But that's all you got
to
with
save
Wade.
him.
I mean, you got Wade, Mosley, Randall, and Jack Jones. That's it. Those are the
Right.
four.
And
guys.
if you're on the fence with him because of the
But
off-field
you don't think
stuff,
you don't think there's anything curious?
Well, I don't know.
And if you don't, you don't. Like
Well-
I'm not telling you should, but you had four guys that played the vast majority of the last game. One of them is going to be a starter for you. The other three are not going to be on your team.
I don't know.
And didn't you have Speed too? Wasn't he available?
I didn't see him play corner at all tonight.
He did play corner.
Little bit.
Matter of fact, he did a good job
Yeah.
on the play. The Patriots got caught with 12 men on the field, and they took a shot. And he had good
And he
coverage
stayed with
down
him.
the sideline.
I mean, I guess I connect it all with just the general Jack Jones. I don't know what the hell's going on. Are
That's-
they playing?
that's what
you
I'm
know,
connecting
like,
it
You
to.
don't have a lot of guys. I don't even know if he's going to be available. Like once the next court dates and all that kind
The
of stuff
latest thing
happens,
now
like,
is a plea deal, right?
Right.
Everybody's talking plea deal. Well, what if the plea deal is,
right.
you know,
Got to do.
not
play
in order to
football.
take a plea, I think you got to admit guilt, right?
and
So if you admit guilt, does that mean they have to make some kind of a move, a reaction?
I don't want to derail this right now,
No,
but
I just was wondering.
No,
don't
I
know.
already, and it's not like an official report. It's just something I heard from somebody who's, got good information on this, who just told me, right now, just this delay in proceedings, it's being reported as this is a good sign that there's a plea deal coming. He's hearing there's no plea deal.
It's okay.
Okay, so that's number one. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be one, but right now, that initial delay wasn't because there was a plea deal. And if you want anything to back it up, just know this. The lawyer he hired is not the lawyer you hired to do a plea deal. You can get anybody to do that, and you can do it quietly, and you can do a little bit of community service, and he never goes to jail. The lawyer he hired is scorched earth.
Oh, yeah.
And that is, we're talking like, nope, it wasn't mine. I was framed, all kinds of different defenses.
We're all set.
That could be, yeah.
We're all set.
Seriously, like when it, and if it goes to trial, okay, this is a whole nother set of circumstances. The Patriots may not, they need him now. There's a numbers thing, like you said, Deuce, bodies wise. But if it continues to present itself as a problem, and oh, by the way, if when he does play, he gives you performances like that, then what are we doing?
No, and that's the reason that you thought they were keeping him along, keeping him playing it slow, is that he can play.
Oh,
and
he's gonna be
that's
so
the feeling.
good.
Like he's certainly out there. I think he's had a pretty good summer overall. In Green Bay, he was like their best corner the second day. So I definitely had a bad game tonight. So, but you're
and
right. If he can't
he was
play,
on my bad list. I'm not necessarily saying, "Wow, this is a disaster." He's
No, no,
terrible.
no.
Like,
yeah.
No.
he had. I don't think he played great tonight. Now it might have been as simple as maybe his focus wasn't great tonight because why am I out here?
Right.
You know?
Could be.
It's possible. You know, but real quick, just sorry. I thought it was interesting. Jason McCourty, I don't know if you caught that, talking about because everybody talks. I've never heard him actually.
He's talked about it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just to say, when he was first here, his first preseason, he was in the third preseason game, playing into the second half, and everybody, was like, "Oh my God, it's Jason McCourty." And I don't know. I always
then
kind
it was the fourth game.
Yeah, and then I think I always assumed that they told him something's going on, and he thought he was out too. Like him and Devin were saying goodbye, so I thought that was a great moment tonight on the Twin Cast.
That was. Cut into my time though.
I got a bad here. J.J. Taylor taking that punt out.
Cam Acord put him on the bad list too, I think.
So it's funny. I had him on the good list just for the screen. I thought he really looked good on that screen pass.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know, but punt return, like question mark. Yeah, I don't get it.
It's just
I don't
bizarre.
get it.
It's tough to make a mistake like that at this point, especially as like we talked about in the pregame show, where you're a fourth-year guy, things should be clicking for you now. Like it's kind of now or never, and then to make like a mental mistake like that that really almost cost them points.
Well, then if he just gets himself tackled here, they can get out to the 20.
I know, what's he doing? Why do football players forget the rules sometimes? Like
by the time he slips right here, he has to realize he's in the end zone, right?
Just go down, bro.
Then he fights his way out of the end zone.
I'm getting to the 2.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
I mean, I know you're not going to lose a job because of one bad play, one bad, sort of judgment, but it's not going to help you either.
No. Other bads that we need to mention before we move on?
12 men on the field is always something that sticks in my craw, but
12,
nothing worth getting into. They probably were 3s and 4s out there at that time.
I was kind of on the fence of putting Malik Cunningham on there. Just, I thought he was one guy that needed a day. I just was disappointed as a receiver. Like, they just keep throwing the ball at him, and
I wouldn't check your Twitter ads if anybody's listening.
Oh, really? Is everyone glowing over?
No, they just got mad when you say that you don't think he's going to be the third quarterback.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be on the team. I think he's going to get cut in 3 days and then probably come back to the practice squad. But it is what it is. I don't know. I've watched him all summer. I've watched all the games. I know the good. I know the bad. I think he's fine. I mean, he's small. He's not a receiver. He can do one thing as a quarterback.
Man, when we were watching, how many passes did he end up attempting in all tonight? I can double check.
I think he was 0
here.
for 2.
Yeah, so 2 passes. I think it was the last one where, for the people who are dead set against having short quarterbacks, that's Exhibit A. It's like he can't see over the line. He can't even.
Yeah,
that wasn't even the one. It was the one before that, and it's like, it's just. I said to Mike, I'm like, I don't know if he's got that good of an arm.
I just think that people, they don't love Malik Cunningham. They love the idea of Malik Cunningham, and that's what they're enamored with.
That's where I fall.
And it's not the actual. It's not the actual guy who's out there doing the stuff or not doing the stuff. It's like, man, it would just be great if we had like a mini Lamar. Wouldn't that be great? And they're like, yeah, I think he's mini Lamar. I think he is.
Yes.
I don't think he is. I mean, I think he'd be fine on the practice squad, to kind of help them get ready for stuff. And it seems like he's a good kid and somebody they want to keep around. But I don't know. You want to call up and yell me 7.5 people. And
we already have 3.
And tell me what
counts as 3.
Wait, doesn't Hardy have to connect them
No.
for them to count?
No.
Oh, we're gonna have a.
No. Oh.
Okay, well, let's.
All right, so I think we cut short the. That's the good and the bad. The injured. We already talked about Riley Reef. I think Perkins may have got a concussion or at least in concussion protocol.
Yep.
And I don't know. Diego Fago looked like he hurt his shoulder, but he came
stinger.
back. Right?
That's what Zoe's got the eye for the stinger, right?
He came back, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. So there we
Good,
go.
bad, and the injured.
So let's go.
Wrapped up.
Let's go to the phone.
Yeah, we'll start with Jake in Australia. Jake, you're up first here on the Patriots Postgame Show. What's going on? Nope, he's there.
Jake,
please, Jake. God.
Yeah, we're there.
There we go.
We're gonna make 7.5.
Yeah, in case you weren't listening to the pregame.
don't be afraid to call back either.
We bet on the over under number of callers in the postgame show. It's at 7.5. So Paul and I both need it to be 8.
So we've got to get those Aussies listening around here.
Yeah, you got any friends down under that want to?
Yeah, and don't say down under. That's very offensive.
Oh, because to us, we're up there.
It's offensive to say down under. I apologize for my colleague.
What about the Thunder down under in Vegas? You've been to that, right?
They're not really Australian. Go ahead, Jake.
What?
Mind.
So
it's a house of lies.
First preseason I've really paid attention to in a while. is the third preseason game always the let's see who's going to make the team sort of game and who we're getting rid of?
What?
Did I miss the?
Yeah, is there? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the game itself was not great to watch.
No.
Not great.
We would all
Definitely
agree.
not
So
great.
in saying that, is this the coaches working out, right, we can use these guys for these purposes, we can keep them, we'll get rid of them sort of situation, or is it just it was a horrible game tonight?
I don't know. Jake, I wish I had a really well thought out and good theory to share with you. I don't know what the coaches get out of that game tonight. Probably some things defensively, but offensively, I don't know how you put, that group of players on the field and expect to learn much about any of them aside from a few plays here and there. It seems like an awful lot of time and energy spent in traveling to Tennessee and going through the pomp and circumstance of a game and acting like it's a real game when it's not a real game, and you're not. Most of the guys out there are not going to be, at least the guys playing in the second half, are not going to get near a football field in week one. So I don't know what to take away from it.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'm sorry, I don't.
I think somewhere in there's 6 to 10 guys that they were really watching closely tonight, and then the rest they probably kind of know. These
Yes.
aren't NFL players. Who are those 6 to 10? I'm sure we know a handful of them. Maybe we don't know a few of them, but that's probably what it was.
Yeah. Jake, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. We'll go to Jack in Portland, Oregon. What's going on, Jack?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Thanks for staying up late after whatever we just watched there.
Oh, yeah.
But, I'm not trying to take away too much from that game, considering who was playing, and I feel like the overall feeling going into that game is no one really wanted to play after last week, what happened. And,
You think no one
kinda
wanted to play
curious about-
tonight? Guys were flying around tonight trying to win jobs.
Well, I'm just
Like
kinda
Calvin
saying
Munson,
the general vibe
Diego
after what
Fagot.
happened
I thought those guys were playing with reckless abandon. I didn't think that at all.
Sam.
Thyrick Pitts was carrying guys like. I have to go see this clip now to know what he's talking about.
Well, it's just the whole movie. It's basically Lord of the Rings, all three
Yeah,
movies.
I didn't see any signs tonight of guys that didn't want to play.
No, I didn't see that either. I mean, it's I don't think you can't confuse. I don't mean to be mean, but we're talking about a bunch of guys who aren't going to make the team, right? Yeah. On both sides of the ball, okay? Don't confuse lack of ability and speed with lack of caring. I think the guys out there playing, they cared, but it didn't look like a typical NFL game because a lot of those guys don't play in your typical NFL games.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here's something else.
Yes.
Lethal Weapon 2. The love interest who, spoiler alert, ends up dead. When she's calling for Mel Gibson's dog, come on, Sam. Come on, Sam.
Oh, is that right before she?
Well, then they take off in the truck because the helicopter comes to shoot up his mobile home on the beach.
Yeah.
Okay, focus.
Out. It's all right. It's 11:30.
Focus.
You're the one on your phone, and you're telling
I'm
me to
just telling you to
focus?
take the phone calls.
7.5. We got to win, baby.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. Jeff in Maine. What's going on, Jeff? Jeff?
And this is what happens.
So this is what happens. Jeff?
Tell me I'm not paying attention.
And I think we're going to get a ruling on Jeff. I think Jeff's out.
No, we're going to get
We'll
a
call
staying at
back.
2.
Okay, let's move right along.
Oh.
No, we get a half.
Spee in Fresno?
Yeah. Yeah.
Spee will be there.
We could leave Spee on hold for 30 minutes and burn through these other calls, but I won't do that to you, Spee. Go ahead.
I'll always be here. I saw Derrick Henry's triceps before kickoff out loud. I was like, "Oh, dude."
Yeah. You get a pic? Do you screenshot that? Get that screenshot to me.
I'm sorry. I was neglectful. I did not get it for you. Next time. I have a football question, but Hardy and Mike first. I was hoping to play a quick Better Off Dead related game with you. Is that okay?
Quickly,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but yes, 1,000 times
Okay,
yes.
quick. Okay, quick. So I'll just give you part of a quote from the movie, and you just have to finish it.
Okay.
So I'll say the word blank at the end to indicate when you take over the
It's like
quote.
Go ahead.
Ortiz stepping up into
So
the box.
first one. Go that way, really fast. if something gets in your way,
Turn.
there we go.
Yes.
All right, that was a warm up.
That's a famous one.
All right, so then the next, also from Charles DeMar, Lane, I've been going to this high school for 7.5 years. Blank.
I'm no dummy.
Yes, I'm no dummy. And then what did they say after that?
Oh God.
I'm no dummy. I don't know. I don't know.
No high school girls.
Oh, yeah, very good, very good. You got one more?
Okay. I'll do one more. Yeah. Because truly a sight to behold, a man beaten, the once great champ, now
A study in
blank.
moppishness.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
Good.
That's
All
my
right.
favorite.
Okay, but for football, I'm with
better when
Kamara in the pregame. Just like the key to the game was to get to the regular season, but that was funny. Paul, with your point about you always used to say offensive line, you can do it on your own time. But with the comments in the pregame show, I thought it was interesting because I'm right there with you. You know, superhuman spackle Tom Brady. Maybe he allowed us to be complacent. So, do you think are your views on like that O-line take changing now?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's a little tongue-in-cheek when I say it, but it's also a little different when I think they have about 13 offensive linemen on the roster, 14 offensive linemen, and literally 7 of them are unavailable right now. Like, you have to have some offensive linemen. Even I would have to say that you need some. You can't just go into games with nobody that can play offensive line. I think the Riley Reef right guard thing, it's not just like a little experiment at this point. He's been exclusively a right guard now for 2 weeks. That's where he's going to play. I think he's a backup right guard. Either that or Owenyu's going to play right tackle.
I mean,
I tuned in late. Has there been an update about Reese?
There hasn't been.
no.
No.
But I mean,
Went to the tent, went to the locker room.
That didn't
that's
look
all we
great.
know.
could part of it just be that they don't think he can play tackle anymore, so it's like guard or bust with him, you know?
Yeah,
Sure.
but I don't think he's going to get cut based on the guaranteed money they gave him.
No.
But
Yeah. And,
could.
And again, numbers.
He's another one. Interesting to see him on the field tonight. I think that's interesting.
Spee, thanks for the call.
Yeah, you got it.
I was hoping we get just like some trivia as opposed to fill in the blank. It's like, here, Lane, this one has blank. You like blank.
Raisins.
Corn.
Oh, it has raisins in it.
Oh, is it raisins?
If you like, right?
I told you I don't like it when I can't play.
Sorry.
You got to get HBO circa 1988 and then.
Oh, I had it. I just don't remember seeing this movie.
David in Texas. Hi, David.
That's 5.
Hey, how are y'all doing after this disaster? Anyways, I just had 2 questions, a little bit into the trivia and whatnot. First question out of the 2-part is for Paul.
Okay.
Out of surprising cuts,
Surprising
out of the
cut.
quarterback position, Mack or Zappy?
A surprising cut?
Out of the 2, yes, sir.
Mack's the starting quarterback. They're not going to cut him.
Right. But out of the playing, I'm just saying, hypothetical, who do you think?
I don't really understand. You're asking me to pick a surprise cut from Mac Jones or Zappy?
I'd be Zappy.
I would say
Probably
Zappy.
go Zappy on that
but
one.
I don't think
Right.
I don't think he's getting cut.
Well, that's why
it's just
surprise.
hypothetical. None of them.
Oh,
You know,
no.
no.
I mean, no. Like, Mac Jones is the starter, right? Am I, like...
Right. Yes, I'm a Mac guy. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you have to be a Mac guy or not a Mac guy. He's the starter.
I don't think either one of them are getting
I
cut.
don't think any team has ever cut their starting quarterback on the eve of the season.
Right. Yeah, it's just a little fun. Main question, though, out of the 2, and I'll get y'all to your bedtimes. But
Thank you.
this one's for Deuce.
Yeah.
Deuce.
Do you think a surprising adding Bill O'B as our offensive coordinator? What would you think that he brought to the table? Would you say it was Malik Cunningham because he's so close from coming back from a head coaching position and college position, or would you say other?
I would say other. I mean, I would just say that the scheme that he's running is a lot more college-ified or Alabama-ified with, you know, the RPOs.
Alabama
and
Mac, baby.
the motions and all that kind of stuff. That's the number one thing. I don't think really Malik Cunningham has much to do with it.
All right, David, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. I was confused by the options. was confused by the choices.
Confused by a lot of stuff.
Jeff and Maine will not be confusing. Go ahead,
I'm
Jeff.
back. You guys hear me?
We got you.
It's officially 5
All
now.
right, perfect. First of all, the J names trying to hammer the over. Jake, Jack, and Jeff were the first 3.
Love it.
But in terms of a roster question that I got for you guys, I've seen a lot of people projecting, 6 corners or 5 safeties. Do you think that the Patriots can free up a couple roster spots elsewhere on the roster by keeping less players in the secondary because of the positional versatility they have? If you have an in-game injury, Mills has played a lot of corner. Not Peppers. Phillips has played some slot corner for him before. Miles Bryant and Mapu have played safety this preseason. That could.
So Jeff, let me. I think it's an interesting question. I just wonder, what would you use that roster versatility for? If you could somehow get away with a little bit less in the secondary because of the versatility, where would you use that roster spot?
I think a lot of people. I think a third tight end wouldn't be bad. I know a lot of people. Now with Booty not playing today, people are saying he's a lock, which I agree with.
Who is
make
this?
it a little easier for Belichick to carry a 6th receiver.
Booty.
God forbid they use it to carry a 2nd kicker.
No, I've been saying for years you got to carry another kicker.
I don't think they'll
nobody.
use 2 roster spots.
You and I are on Hardy and Jeff Island on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that would happen, but I get your point about the roster spots leading to somewhere, another spot. Very late in the game, and I don't blame you if you weren't watching till the end. But I think Sokol was a guy that a lot of people say, well, you need 3 tight ends. I agree, you do. I just think you can have one on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have him on the active roster the whole year.
It's really easy to keep a blocking tight end on the practice
I
squad.
agree. I don't think you're going to lose Sokol or Ferkser.
No one's going to pick up Lumpkin if you need him to block for a game. I think that Ferkser gives you, and you'll be able to get him too, but a little more versatility, whether, an H-back, inline tight end, receiving tight end. And, hopefully Gesicki can play, but if not, he can move a little bit better than Sokol can.
Yeah, probably. I would think so. I'm still kind of in a wait-and-see mood on Gesicki. Didn't see much of him in camp, and then he had the shoulder injury, so who knows?
Good sign that he was back, though, practicing.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm losing my edge, but, I don't find the 53-man roster all that daunting. I really don't get to,
what do I tell you all the time?
55 guys. I don't,
I tell you all the time, I do it, and I end up with, 51.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you can, you might have Calvin Munson and Tayshaun Booty. Someone else might have Amir Speed and Matt Sokol. I don't think those guys are necessarily going to make the difference.
Do you have any idea how disrespectful that is? Do you think they're having fun being catatonic in a closet?
Can you get David on New York?
What was that weird science?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Deuce. David in New York. What's up, David?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, so I had a show point first, and this one's for Paul. I got to say, I really appreciate you on the shows because often in debates and sports arguments and stuff in real life, I find myself talking like snarky Paul, and I have to catch myself because it sometimes comes off as really mean.
Don't do it in front. Don't do it in front of anybody who's tougher than you. It may not go over well.
I did have a Patriots question though. So a lot of people are saying that Boutte not playing tonight, or at least not playing a lot. I didn't see him out there at all.
I don't think he had. I think he had 3 snaps.
Yeah. So people are saying he could be a roster lock. Do you think you've seen enough from him so far in camp in the preseason to justify that?
No. But I do think he has a very good chance to make the team. I just don't see him like a lot of other people evidently do, as a lock. I don't see him as a lock.
Yeah.
I could easily see him getting cut.
I a little bit surprised he didn't play more, but also based on how the offense went tonight.
They had 79 yards of offense.
There was he wasn't going to save him.
No.
I made the comment that they had 43 yards in the first half. They had less in the second.
But once again, if he's on the bubble and the coaches do use this game as any way to determine, then how do you make any kind of determination if he doesn't play?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great question. I don't know.
But maybe they already knew.
Maybe I mean, he has.
I think he'll stay because of the numbers game that Deuce talked about in the pregame show.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have a lot of receivers. Someone's got to make it.
All right.
Not a lot of young legs.
You know what? You know what it is, David, and thank you for the call. They have too many receivers.
Correct.
I think Ben Volen was right.
There's another one tonight. He was talking about, it's surprising that Dallas would take on Trey Lance's salary on a rookie contract.
What are we doing?
What
are we doing?
It's like bizarro analysis.
Let me tell you something. The break is so short, you won't even believe it's a break. But we do have to take one.
Oh, I think you can win the over right here.
No,
but just hang up if you're holding
we'd
on.
Still be
we're not gonna get
we'd
to you.
still be a half
I'm just
short.
going to say it's going to be an official protest if we do not get to Mike and cousin Chris.
Okay. Matt told me to break, and I do what I'm told. He's the boss. He runs this show.
Good for you.
Thank you to the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Great memories are made in Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them, indoors or outdoors. Scenic views, city vibes, solo or family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season. Plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway and visit ma.com or the Patriots Postgame Show coming up.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
TouchView Interactive from the Oakers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
$1 million for picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half of one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
We exist to keep your body and mind moving.
It's never too late to rise.
Because everybody is a Therabody.
TouchView Interactive from the Oakers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
$1 million for picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half of one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
We exist to keep your body and mind moving.
It's never too late to rise.
Because everybody is a Therabody.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like my plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get my plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get my plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Tom Curran with a little pat in the back from Mac Jones. I'm not sure I like that.
I don't know. I was just watching Mac Jones get violated each time on that replay.
That was unfortunate. Okay.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
All right, back to the calls at 855-PATS-500 on this Patriots Postgame show. Mike and Southie. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mike. What's going on?
Hey, no worries. That break, that was a long break. That might have been a record-setting long break.
Right?
It felt like it was one of the weekday shows here on.
Oh, that was
for sure.
What? Patriots Unfiltered.
Great show. I had a random.
Go eat lunch.
Shower thought.
Go ahead.
You guys hear me? Yeah. All right. I had a random shower thought the other day. I wanted to get your guys' take. I don't know if it's the best idea to construct a quarterback room with two young guys both potentially competing for a starting job. I know the chances are slim for Zappy. I'm just saying I don't know if it's good for the psychology in the quarterback room. I think you need a young guy to develop like Mac, and then you need a Brian Hoyer or a Brian Hoyer-type figure. So that way Mac feels comfortable. What do you guys think?
If, just out of curiosity, this year, coming off of last season, where the offense was not good, do you think Brian Hoyer would be as content to back up a young guy this year as he probably was last year?
I think at this point in Brian Hoyer's career, he probably knows what he is at this point.
Yeah, no, I would agree. But in this particular team, I would say that he would probably look at it as, I have an opportunity to play. Whereas, when backing up Brady, obviously, he didn't.
I don't know.
I guess the door is a little wider open for him now that Brady's gone and Mac's in. But I don't know. Mac's still a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
Mike,
not feasible.
I guess ideally what I want in the quarterback room are a couple of quarterbacks. You don't have to obviously have a guy sitting on the practice squad who's also capable of this, but at least two guys who ideally could go into a game and, do meaningful things to get you to win that game. And one of them being a veteran doesn't equal that. Brian Hoyer showed us that. Brian Hoyer can't go in and win you a football game.
I like Mike's theory, though. I like the thought process. It is kind of interesting that they have such little experience at quarterback.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Third-year guy, a second-year guy, and who knows?
What year did you feel like they just went for it with Brady? Like where they didn't feel the need to have like a veteran in back of him, like they could just kind of let him roll.
Was Heward still here in 2002? I think he was.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Just at a certain point where you're like, we know this guy's our starter.
Rohan Davey.
We're gonna mentor him. We don't need some old ass quarterback here who's been around the block.
It's a good point. No, I could see it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing.
I think you guys are all making good points.
Mike, thanks for the call. It depends if you count Mac's time at Alabama as like
you do.
Pro ready. So all right, well then he's your crafty
that 1 year counts.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's go to cousin Chris in North Carolina. Chris, are you with us?
What?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
And that puts
the
us over.
Deuce goes.
Yeah. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
All right.
I've gone 5-1 in the over-unders yet again.
What did I go? Can you give me?
I didn't.
You went 2 and 4.
I believe it.
Hardy goes. I believe
you don't
4.
even care about the caller. All you wanted to do was win.
4 and 2, which puts you and I in a dead heat for second place in the preseason
Who finished in
over-underers.
first?
Paul wins. You and I.
It's preseason, Paul. Doesn't mean anything.
You were 9-3. I was 7-5.
feel for these things. I just feel for the game.
This puts us both at 12 and whatever.
This is stinky.
Okay.
All right, now you're just going to drop.
Chris, what do we got?
Drop the call and be like, all right, get out of here.
11-7.
What's up, Chris?
Well, man, I actually ended up looking up like when I first emailed you. I guess when I first joined the shows in 2013. Ain't that crazy? It's been a minute now.
Wow.
We've been like boys in a different place, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, man. You like
But
Andy.
what I really wanted to get to was the whole, like, you know, last year we was like, you know, kind of picky about Mac Patricia calling plays, and, you know, it's kind of ginky, you know what I'm saying? But I've been watching this preseason games, and I mean 1, 2, and 3, and I've been listening in, and I'm looking at the plays, and I'm like, where is Bill O'Brien really making his, like, it might be too soon, but where is he really making his, like, where is he giving us that
Right.
that extra step to make us feel like we you know?
Yeah.
I don't think he can make his presence known in a preseason game. I saw it more, honestly, in training camp practices. Just the way things were flowing in the practices, were moving, and the offense seemed to have. And again, the execution is going to continue to be an issue until everybody's on the same page. But it's something as simple as this, Chris. 2 years ago, Matt Patricia, when you're figuring out what plays to run, it was head buried in a play sheet. It was someone else coming over and talking. It was Joe Judge. It was Bill Belichick at times. And now in these practices, it just moves. And O'Brien's in charge of it, and there's no doubt about it.
Yep.
And you may not see it manifest in a preseason game because you got a bunch of guys out there playing who aren't going to be really playing on the offense in the regular season. But we have seen it. We have seen it during this camp.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Hardy laid it out for you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I know I was getting a lot of, we're going to have 2 good tight ends. You know, this is going to be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good to, like, if I'm going to get to see some of that stuff.
We
know?
haven't even really
And
seen
it's
that,
hard
though.
to
They didn't
judge
play.
Zappy
Yeah,
right now
they've
when
been
they
hurt.
threw him in the shit last week.
Hey.
And they threw him in the shit this week.
Hey.
That call doesn't count now. He swore.
I know it's
he broke
after
the
the minute.
rules. Take him off.
Do you count? Because nobody swears on this show more than you
count,
do.
Paul.
Yeah,
I count.
I think so. Can
we talk about something that happened during the game?
Sure enough.
On the post-game show?
Sure enough.
Can we talk about the Zappy to Malik Cunningham to Zappy in the second half, like the switcheroo of the quarterbacks? Now, this is something that I like in preseason games.
Yeah.
Mid-drive, second down, or, you pick up, you change out the quarterback, you change him out again. That simulates an in-game possibility in the regular season. Someone gets hurt, you got to take him out. He's in concussion protocol. I question the value in it when you're doing it with, 2 guys. I suppose it could go down this way if Matt goes down and then Bailey's in there and he goes down. But it just seemed to be a bit much.
It doesn't seem the game to prepare for situational weirdness when you've just got a bunch of backups playing. It seems peculiar.
This is going to get the masses all hot and bothered, but I don't think it had as much to do with that. Zappy not playing into the second quarter, and then coming out of the game from McSorley to finish the half.
Yeah.
Then going back in the game might be one of those. You got to be ready at all times. You're the backup. And the other guy came out, so you never know. You're the backup. I might need you to go in on a drop of a hat. I think the whole thing with Cunningham was he was at wide receiver one play and quarterback the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they might be trying to set it up. So we might do that in a game. We might have you at wide receiver and then all of a sudden try to run some stuff out of the quarterback draws or whatever.
Oh, boy.
I kind of hope that's not what it was.
Well, it would feel desperate to me because he hasn't been good. And if he had been productive and every time he touched the ball it was electric and you said, this is an element we got to get to the offense. But if we get to the regular season and they're doing that to get Malik Cunningham in there, it's going to feel a bit desperate to me that, look, we really need a change-up, a different pitch to throw at teams because we don't feel that Mac and our offense alone, with Bill O'Brien much less, is going to be able to get the job done. So I don't know. I needed to see more out of Malik Cunningham to feel like he could, be a significant part of this offense, or that it's worth the time and energy to take Mac and the offense off the field and, break whatever rhythm and flow that you're trying to establish to, have a mobile quarterback come in and run a couple read options and, give the defense something to think about. I don't know. You can tell my feelings about this situation.
Yeah, I think you've had enough. So the whole thing with the offense too, and I agree. I think Hardy, you laid it out perfectly, like Mike said. The whole thing that we've saw at practice, but at the same time, is it not like they had 3 bad offensive games in the preseason? Like, does that not worry anybody?
It worries me, but I guess for me, I would just tie it to the offensive line again. Maybe I'm fooling myself in saying that if Strange and when you are able to get healthy over the next 2 weeks and come back, that we'll figure out the right tackle, and hopefully Trent Brown is locked in and that we can work with that, and then that will kind of help them. But I think you're right, and I think that's what we're going to go back to if it's bad, and it's not even just the offensive line. It's like guys aren't getting away, and it's not really being productive. I think maybe then we'll go back and connect the dots a little bit more and saying, it was more than just the offensive line. It wasn't just the protection. It's getting everybody on the same page is difficult right now. So it's like one of those things, though. I guess I'm developing a feel for it, where you get a feel for the team in preseason and you kind of get your impressions, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna kind of try to forget about all those and just go into the regular season with a blank slate. But like last year, it's hard to, because even when you got into the regular season, it was like, as much as I wanted to ignore some of the issues that we saw in the spring, and you realize, like, no, those were that's them. That was the trait. It wasn't, clunkiness or, they're just getting used to a new system. It was, no, that's kind of who they were, and that was showing its head early on.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm panicking or anything off of preseason, but I do look around the league, and there's some of these teams have found a way to move the ball and score some points with their offense on the field, and then they go out. They 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, and then they're done.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett.
And the Patriots really haven't had any drives. They had like 1 drive last week against Green Bay. They just haven't consistently moved the ball.
No, I don't think it's unfair to question the offense right now, but we're specifically answering the question about Bill O'Brien. When are we going to see something? Seeing a little bit now in terms of actual offensive effectiveness. No, not yet.
And this is not about Bill O'Brien, because I don't care about the play calls. I'm saying, your plays is good enough. Like, can you, okay, the offensive line that was out there tonight. To start, it's Riley Reef and City So. Like, those guys could be out there on week 1.
Mm-hmm.
At least one of them.
Mm-hmm. You kind of hope one of them's out there.
So I would like to think that you could win a few more individual battles. Like, someone texted me tonight and said, "Do they just stink?" And I said, "No, but I think it's safe to say that depth is an issue."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's get to. Well, first we'll
now you're just rubbing it in.
Grab Tony in Canada.
It's over.
And Tony, as long as you don't swear, we'll be able to count this call, and it'll be official.
He won't share.
Oh, now you're tempting me. I'm thinking about it, but
okay.
No.
Well, whatever.
I'm surprised you guys didn't mention Scarface as one of the gangster movies.
Oh, that's a good one too.
And notable mention is Carlito's Way. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Another Brian De Palma, fantastic.
Pacino
good
guy,
pull.
Yeah.
Good
Tony's
pull.
Pacino
but
guy.
okay, in regards to football, the more I see that Pat's offense this year, the more I realize that things I don't expect to be a lot more different. And I do remember watching a lot of your post-game shows, and you guys talked about how, when we were ahead or we needed to kind of catch up, we needed our defense just to make a big stop, and they couldn't do that. So I'm wondering, what do you guys think, if anything, will have more success in terms of being able to stop the opposing team's offense from scoring, especially when we need it? And I heard Paul on TV talked about Mapu, and I was super impressed with him, and I hope he plays middle linebacker as well. But just those thoughts.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
What do you guys think?
All right,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Again, it's kind of hard to tell based on who was in there. Now, tonight, the run defense looked really good at the beginning. They weren't attempting a lot of passes. Later on in the game, it had something to do with they're kind of getting carved up on the underneath stuff now. And Deuce said, yeah, but who's out there? Like, it's not a good indication of, who's going to be out there playing defense in the regular season. So, difficult to say right now. Do you feel that the defense will be able to get stops at critical times in the regular season based on this preseason? Hard to tell, it has more to do with the offenses that you're facing than it does your defense.
Before I'm expecting it. But I'm not judging on the preseason. I agree with you guys. Like, you're not learning a whole lot tonight.
I mean, I think it is the big question about the defense is that, we trumpet all of their stats from last year, and, it's certainly against certain teams they were very good. And I would connect it to the to the offense too. Like, I think last year they got hung out to dry a little bit. I think they kind of got into the mentality of like it has to be us. But there's nothing I can specifically point to that makes me feel like, oh, they're going to get over that hump this year. They just need guys to make plays at those big moments. They need Uche and Judon, and I mean as Paul laid out in the pregame show of what a gauntlet this schedule is. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities. There's not going to be a lot of like this defense feasting on terrible offenses and kind of padding their stats that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, are Keon White, Christian Gonzalez, are those two kind of new faces going to make a difference? Jalen Mills has been really active at safety. He's, maybe one of their best defensive players since moving over there in camp. So that's, positive. Jabril Peppers has kind of emerged into a bigger role too. So there are some changes, but it's hard to say like, well, that's why they're going to – it has to be complementary football with the offense kind of chipping in and being able to say, all right, look, even if you guys don't get this stop right now, we're going to be able to go down and get some points and help you out.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I don't mind, the defenses are going to give up some big plays now and then. It's going to happen, but this doesn't get talked about, I don't think, hardly ever. There's this theory of bend but don't break. Have you ever heard this before with regard to a Patriots
exactly
defense?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, I'm glad you asked.
Like snap in half, but it's just really it's got a lot of flex to it.
I know what you look. There's going to be a fair amount of that. We talk about the true threats, that might be lacking on the offense right now. Who are the really scary guys on defense? I got a couple of them. I mean, Judon, might prove to be that guy. We're the really scary guys, the ones that are going to be the big playmakers for you on defense. The recognizable around the league guys. No, it's going to be a team effort.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I think bend don't break is kind of become more of the collective consciousness of the league.
It has to be
more cover two, and the Vic Fangio of it all. Just not letting these explosive offenses make them execute. And I mean, it doesn't make it right, but there's a lot of teams that operate with that defensive philosophy. And it just comes down to red zone stops, and this, I think this team last year, was 22nd in the red zone. So, that's where the difference lies.
The game is geared and officiated to, favor the offense to a point where I think you're right. I think collectively the league has kind of gone to that. All right, we're going to give up some big plays here. There's not much we can do about it. And, just try and limit the damage.
Try to get a tackle inside the 20 and then space gets tighter down there, and then hopefully you're able to make a play and get a stop.
Hopefully you have a kicker like who's kicking for Tennessee tonight?
We were talking about did they keep two kickers? That's a team that I think would take Nick Folk.
Wow.
I mean, he missed one and banked in two others.
Unbelievable.
It's talent. He's trying to.
Let's grab some emails here. How about from Dylan, who wants to know, are we cured? Are we finally cured from the Zappy fever? All right, Dylan. Yes. Maybe.
I just think that in order to properly judge these guys, evaluate, like they need to play with the same players.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that Mac has been better than Zappy, I would say 80 to 85% of the days at training camp. 85% of the time.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not going to kill Zappy tonight and say, well, look at how much better Mac is. Mac didn't play. If Mac was out there tonight, it may have looked exactly the same.
Could have.
Based on who he played with. And Zappy, when Zappy got to play with starters last year, he played well. So I think he was bad tonight. That little out to Malik Cunningham that Zoe was like, it's a bad route. I think he threw it about 5 yards wide.
There was no route that I think Malik Cunningham could have run that he would have been in the right spot for that ball.
And it looked like Billy O was mad at Zappy.
He did seem to round out the route a little bit, though. It wasn't very sharp.
I'm sure he did. I mean, he's not a receiver.
Nick from Illinois wants to know, who's a big fan of yours, Deuce, and Paul.
Oh.
Deuce especially when he's swearing.
No, Nick says, from a longtime listener fan, now that we're through the preseason, thoughts on whether or not we carry a third tight end, and if so, who will it be?
Well, I mean, I think it's to Paul. Like I'd love to say I think Sokol's a lock. Do I think any other team is going to sign Matt Sokol? Probably not. I mean, I don't think there's some of these that you're overthinking of guys that another team is going to covet, and put them on their own 53-man roster. So I think Paul's probably right. I think you keep two guys, and you take your chance with Sokol and Ferkser, and you probably keep both of them.
Especially if your medical checks out that Gesicki will be ready to go week 1, which I think he's tracking toward, the fact that he was already on the practice field, 2 weeks ahead. And the other part of that is you can sort of weigh, I don't think Sokol, but Ferkser probably doesn't have to clear waivers. What year is this for Ferkser?
Fourth, fifth, something like that.
So I don't think he needs to clear waivers. So you could talk to him, you could cut him, and not have to worry about waivers, and just say, listen, we're going to put Tyquan Thornton or Isaiah Bolden or somebody on injury reserve, and as soon as we do that tomorrow, we re-sign you, and that you get a chance to steal a guy that way.
I just think my priority is, again, keeping the young draft picks, like guys like Sam Roberts. I wouldn't want to lose. I wouldn't want to cut Sam Roberts and see him go to another practice squad. Or a guy that has shown a little promise. He's not going to go to another
practice squad. If someone claims him, they have to put him on the roster.
But I'm saying,
year 6 for Ferkser.
But he might have a choice, though, right? He might have a choice, though, right? Afterwards,
if
the
you
Patriots
get claimed on a,
he doesn't get claimed. He's kind of
if
free
he doesn't
agent.
If he doesn't get claimed,
yes.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's going to claim him. But I just, those are the guys I don't want to lose. I don't want to see a rookie, third-year guy like that, or second-year guy that you put a little time into.
I get it.
That's again.
Those are the guys you want to keep.
That's what I want for this team. Develop these guys. Continue to try to find gems, and Roberts. But it's not like if he does go, it's not the end of the world. Like it's not like there's nobody really on the roster that I feel like I'm willing to cut. That I'm like they're going to be just absolutely screwed if this guy doesn't. If they don't somehow get even like Booty like. I'd like to have him. Do I think that he's going to be a superstar and that they're screwed if they don't? Not really. I mean,
think
not yet.
we're in the regular season. I think, and don't kill me on these CBA intricacies. I think
I'll kill you.
Where the choice for the player comes in is if you're in the practice squad, say in week 4, and the Colts want to sign you to their active roster, you can say, no thanks, I'm good. You can do the Rosemary Scapiccio. Yeah, all set. I like it here on this practice squad with this team that I've developed under, and I'm not interested in going to sign with the Colts, even though they would have to keep me on the roster for 3 days. If you get cut and someone claims you on waivers, you have to go.
You go.
I think that's
you go now.
I think that's the difference.
Efren in California.
Zimbalist?
So,
no.
What?
No.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I have sleeping problems, but not anymore. Thank you, Patriots. That's from Efren in Hollywood.
I'm having a sleeping problem right now.
I know. Paul looks like he's about to get into that show where you smoke your cigarette and you're like, Deuce is so right.
Paul and I may have pushed it a little too hard today. Not as much as Matt, who has been nonstop exercising,
push it a little bit,
doing his thing. But
just went for a 700-calorie run in the middle of the game.
Yeah, but Morrell is, he's a professionally highly trained
killer
machine.
Yeah.
And
trained by the U.S.
Paul
government.
And I am not.
Paul and I are old men.
No, you're fine, Hardy. Hardy made me carry my gloves today.
Oh, no?
Well,
what is that?
No carts. No, it was very, very
so
wet.
Wow, it was so wet you can't.
You guys
can
go play, but there's no carts of any kind allowed.
They barely even let you walk on it. Probably you got to walk around. Right?
I don't think they were thrilled with us being out there, but
I don't think they were that upset.
No.
Were you guys jumping around, splashing in the puddles, and being silly and stuff?
Yeah,
that's just silly.
Paul, look at me. You
I'm a
guys
duck.
calling.
I'm a baby duck, and I don't
We're having fun.
and I don't care.
I love golfing.
Bob in Connecticut. If a player is cut so a team can make the 53-man roster and that player is then claimed by a second team, can the player refuse to sign with the second team and then sign? No. We're just talking about this.
Just like the draft.
And then sign with the first team if a roster space opens up on the first team's roster because the roster player has moved up to PUP or nope.
So Malik Cunningham can't turn down the
Right.
Seahawks.
If they cut Malik Cunningham and he has to clear waivers.
Yeah.
If somebody claims him, I believe he has to go.
This is something else that is sticking in, I'm not going to say whose craws, but the notion that Malik would not clear waivers and be able to get onto the practice squad. It was mentioned on the broadcast again tonight. It's been...
That's Mike's thing. He gets really upset about
okay, well, now
He's
so
he
he
gets
said
silly
it.
about it.
Hold on, wait. What was it? Do we have the stat line on him tonight? What was that?
0 for 2, I believe 1 rush for 5 yards or something like that.
One rush. We got a catch tonight, though, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, for -1.
-1. Like, he was an undrafted rookie. Like, what has he done? Like, that one drive in week 1 where he took the team down the field and we're like, that was it.
Did he take him down? Yeah, he did take him down the field.
And they went 75 yards for a touchdown.
Well, it was the one throw that was incomplete.
I mean, and honest to God, in all fairness, and to Paul's point, like, it was probably their best drive of the whole preseason. So maybe I'm the idiot.
No, I mean, there's something there for but for another team to sign him, you have to sign him.
People didn't even want to draft him, and they're going to want to sign him to their 53?
Right, to their 53. And if you deem him that important, then you figure out a way to keep him.
I want him to be Mini Lamar too, but I just don't think he's the guy.
No, I don't.
What are we working on here? You got some grip alignment? All right.
I could have used this today.
I know. We have golf instruction on one of the monitors
struggling
in
with
here.
my irons.
I couldn't care less if you were struggling. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Splishing and splashing.
That's
I'll tell you,
right.
we had a quality lunch. I will say that.
Oh, yeah?
Hardy took care of me.
At the country club there?
He took care of me
Yeah.
at his club.
Ah.
I told him when we were like, hey, Wang, it's a parking lot. Enough for the pictures.
How about a little something, for the effort?
Right. Just to go over the over-unders, not that I want to harp on this, Malik Cunningham quarterback snaps was at a half. Both Deuce and Paul went under. I was the only one who took the over. I'm the only one who saw it coming. I won it.
Me.
I
Only
won
me.
it. Total interceptions thrown, 3.5.
I had the under.
Too bad it was fumbles.
The under hit.
If it was fumbles, I would have had it.
Both Paul and I had the under that hit. Total number of Patriots punts, 5.5. For some reason, Deuce and I both went under.
What was it?
7?
I'm over.
That's it?
7?
Seemed like more than that.
Sure did.
Seemed faked. Saw the Ponderosa on TV. Looked fake.
Patriots punting. Yeah, Beringer had 5 and Waitman had 2.
Wow.
So
I was closer than I thought.
I think we had to hit the Belichick because I just got the transcript from the Bill.
2.5. If you had the under.
Oof.
It's a quick one.
Number of callers on air in the postgame show, 7.5.
Yeah.
Looked like we were going to blow it up
But they
when we
died
hit
at 8, right?
I think we ended up with 9
just
so
trying to
far.
spike
Well, we haven't really taken any calls since. Like we just
because no one has called since.
Oh, sorry.
They gathered together.
That's a good time to do it.
That's
then.
a great time to get it. 37 seconds.
I might be able to rest my eyes.
Well, we have the total score. We all took the under at 38.5. The one that we are just banking on, we don't know for sure, but we have reports that Bill Belichick's post-game presser came in at under 4 minutes, which both Mike and Paul guessed correctly on. I was wrong on that. We think we will find out now as we listen to the head coach, which is brought to you by our partner, Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider and laptop of the NFL and the New England Patriots that provides players and coaches with the tools to succeed both on and off the field. Check out the powerful Surface Pro 9, combining the power of a laptop with the flexibility of a tablet at surface.com. Here's the head coach.
With some of the individuals here. Get ready to go here.
looked like Calvin Munson was one of those guys who took advantage of the opportunities that were given to him tonight.
Yeah, and he's always done that. But yeah, we'll look at everything a little more closely on film, but yeah, definitely shows some positive plays.
How would you describe the growth we've seen from Anthony Jennings in his rookie year?
Yeah, Anthony's made progress. So again, everything comes together here. But all the guys that have been out there working have gotten better. It's good to have as many healthy guys as possible working. We've had quite a few, especially on defense.
Bill, how would you sum up the progress of your team from day one of camp to where they are now, getting ready to prepare for the regular season?
Yeah, no, we'll see. We'll find out. I think you ever know until you get out there. So, we'll see. We've improved, but measured against another team here in a couple weeks.
Well, how hard is it for you and for the coaching staff, cut down day, and it's obviously it's a sensitive time for players. How hard is it to make these decisions, and you got to tell these guys, some of these guys, you got to let them go. How hard is that on you?
Yeah. Well, it's the same on every team. Yeah, it's 37 guys. So it's 90 minus 37 equals 53. So that's the reality of the NFL. We all knew that when we signed up for it. So that's the tough part, but that's part of it.
We saw Michael Wendell the other day at practice, and Cole's been watching or whatever. How is it concern for the offensive line? What is your state of mind going in to prepare with some of the injuries, Riley getting hurt tonight?
Yeah, we'll see.
How did you guys do with the conditions tonight?
Yeah, we just didn't have a lot of bodies here. By the second half, we didn't have as many subs. So those guys competed. They still didn't fall. Okay.
That was definitely less than 4 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
not even close, really.
No.
If we're being honest, I mean,
a little over
put
2.
on a master class of over/under again, 5-1.
Preseason, Paul.
Preseason. Consecutive weeks.
Preseason.
You know what that makes up for? How wrong you have even decided yourself that you are about the whole in-law debate.
No. I just think that you have a point on your side. So I'll throw it out. See if we can get a call.
Can we get a cigarette in there?
Smoking a pancake.
If you have a niece or nephew and they get married,
well, explain the genesis of the argument.
I thought we did this in the pregame show.
I'm sure everybody is still listening. There's no way anybody is listening right now that didn't hear this hours ago.
He's throwing trash in the sky. What's going on?
Okay, so Hardy and I had a very deep discussion.
Oh, we're going to relive this?
At golf today. Well, evidently we have to
What else do you want to talk about?
We have to re-rack it. So I constantly refer to my brother-in-law, who is married to my sister-in-law. I refer to him as my brother-in-law, and Hardy says, well, he's not your brother-in-law. Like, she's your sister-in-law because you're married to her sister. So she, becomes your sister-in-law. But your sister-in-law's husband is not your brother-in-law.
He's nothing.
I looked it up on the internet, where you can find anything you want, and it says that I am right. And I showed it to him, and he said, you're right. But I do recognize there's a flaw.
That's not how that went, by the way.
That is exactly how it went.
The definition is...
The definition was your sister or sister-in-law's husband. Spouse of your sister or your sister-in-law.
The sibling of your spouse or the spouse of your sibling. And that's where it ends.
No. I read this to you, and I'm going to do it again. No. But anyway, I find a flaw in it because I was just thinking my niece just got married.
You found a flaw.
Like 3 weeks ago. I felt that one. I felt Pat McAfee staring at me at that one.
God bless you, Paul.
So my niece just got married, and I would not consider her new husband my nephew. I don't think.
No, well, we're getting nieces and nephews. You're talking marriage, though, now. This is like, nieces and nephews are just like blood cut, like, right? Like children of your...
Well, like my brother's...
Siblings.
My brother's daughter is my niece. When she gets married, I don't think her husband's going to be my nephew.
No.
Am I wrong on that?
No.
You can only extend it out once through, like one connection. That makes, that's That's what an in-law is.
779-0985. Call in.
You know what my biggest argument against this is?
Oh, that's not the number for the show. 855-PATS 500.
Here's my biggest argument against this.
Yes.
Okay. Paul's brother-in-law is married to Paul's sister-in-law, right? So there are somehow brother and sister, these two in-laws.
Oh.
Ew.
That's another angle to it, right?
Right? That's why it doesn't make sense just in the terminology.
You know how things go up on the North Shore, though. It's a little bit different up there. A little bit different.
Well, very close.
Dictionary. Right? Brother-in-law, the husband of one sibling, or sibling-in-law.
Oh, sibling. Oh.
So that says that I'm right,
Dictionary
correct?
says you're
Which,
right.
when I read this, Hardy said, "Oh yeah, you're right." I said, but I also can scroll down further and see it written differently.
Yes.
So
again, like you said, you can find
you can find anything you want, but that's the first thing that comes up. Dictionary. I just Googled definition of brother-in-law, and that's what came up.
Check Urban Dictionary.
I don't think you want to do that, Deuce. I don't think you want to do that.
Hold on, Will in Florida.
Hey,
might
get up to 9. Get up to 9.
Might have an answer for us, or he might have
I
something.
may or may not be awake by the time we hear it.
No, he might have something to say on gangster movies, for all I know.
Oh.
Yes, go ahead, Will. What do you got for us?
Hey, what's up? Have you guys ever seen Once Upon a Time in America? Just wondering what you thought about that.
Deuce has seen it. I think I started to watch it once. I know it's supposed to be incredible, but I have not watched it.
I've seen it a long time ago, but yeah, it's a good one.
Is it Robert De Niro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert De Niro. I think Joe Pesci makes an appearance in the middle there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to ask you guys, how do you think Jack Jones performed tonight?
Oh.
Couple nice
Not
plays
good.
in the backfield, but otherwise, I think it was a tough night for him.
Up and down, yeah. I thought he struggled a little bit.
Rough night for him, Will. Thank you, though. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. The Jack Jones saga will continue with his hearing in September. I think Deuce put it perfectly, and right now it's a numbers game. You know, you need him in there. He can play. He did not have a good game tonight. I think the issue that the Patriots are going to have to wrestle with is going to be his availability and whatever else he might be bringing to the table in terms of, he admitted himself this past week that it's been a distraction, that he's been distracted, that it has been a distraction for the team. And if it escalates beyond what it already is, the Patriots they might have a decision to make if he is not. We know what trumps just about everything around here. It's like, oh, can you contribute to us having a successful season? And if it does, they're willing to tolerate a lot more.
Yeah, he's just such a wild card, And I mean, we don't have to go through the whole history of it, but I mean, he had history coming in. He didn't even make it through a year. I know you guys, I think, talked about that on the radio last week. Was listening to it, and it's that saying of your best ability is availability, and it's not just that. It's just, what are you getting day in and day out with him? I get he's an intense kid, and there's, he kind of has emotional swings. It seems like, but he just needs. He needs to get this legal situation behind him, and then he just needs to have a quiet season. He needs to be straight and narrow, get through the rest of this year, and just get back to that. Show everybody that you can be here and just play football and be intense and bring all those things that I think a lot of the team loves about him is the way he plays and that fire and that intensity. But he's got to find a way to get rid of all this other stuff that's really. I mean, he's hanging by a string right now. He's a talented kid. He can play in the NFL. But how many times have we seen people that can play in the NFL, they can't stay on the straight and narrow, and, they end up out of the league and, perhaps worse places than that. So I hope he can get this situation behind him and get his life on track, and including on the football field. But he's got to prove it to everybody, I think.
Nancy has an answer to your question, Paul. Yes, Nancy, what is it?
Hi.
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 I love you guys. I love watching the show.
Oh, thank you.
Keep up the good work. You guys are really funny tonight because you look so tired.
I thought we were doing a good job of faking it. Yeah.
It's really funny to watch on video.
Oh, great.
I just want to answer Paul's question. Your niece's husband is your nephew-in-law.
Is that a thing?
Is that a thing, actually?
Yeah, Google it.
Okay.
Google it, bro.
Anything you want is on the internet.
Okay.
Okay,
That's what I call my niece's husband. He's
Okay.
my nephew-in-law.
Okay, all right, that works. That works for me. All right, thanks,
All right.
Nancy.
Okay, have a good night.
All right, thanks, you too.
Thanks, Nancy.
What would you
that's
call it
helpful.
if your sister wasn't officially married to the guy that she's with? What do you call
I'd
him?
call her a tramp. Wow. I'd call her a floozy.
That's harsh.
What?
Partner?
What? What?
I don't know. You asked.
I can funk.
A hussy.
Who's not going to make this team that really deserves to make this team? Who's not going to make it? And it's like, you know
Hardy,
what?
Good late rally
Just
right
trying
there.
to like come out of nowhere and make my brain actually work. Gosh.
Vince Van Patten. Isn't that salami? I don't know what we're watching.
You just broke the tension. Nick Folk. Nick Folk.
Great answer.
What's the question?
Great.
Yeah.
Who's not going to make this team that really does deserve to make this team?
It's a very good answer. Unfortunately, I didn't think of it before he said it.
Right.
I'm not that bright.
I
pulled it out of my rectum.
And he might. And if he did make the team, you'd be happy with that?
Yeah.
not necessarily.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't. No, look, the two can't be mutually exclusive.
Well, I'm gonna speak from the place of love that I have from Nick Folk, which is just kind of a remarkable story of a guy that everyone kind of made fun of when he arrived here, and we had all kinds of sound clips of how terrible he was, and then he's had a really good run. He's been really consistent for them. I think he's coming here, and he's been similar to what he's been the last few years. So I would definitely be a little bit disappointed to see that story kind of come to an end. I get why they drafted Ryland. They need that kind of leg. I'd like to think that they have a guy out there with a little bit more range, plus 50 when they're getting down, towards it. They need, it's a little bit more of a weapon when you have a guy with range like that. But I would feel, a little bit disappointed. I still think they're going to try to keep both of them. We'll see if Nick Folk has other designs or another team has other designs on that. But I think that most likely they're going to keep Ryland and try to cut Nick and keep him around maybe.
So a guy that deserves to make the team but won't.
Probably won't make.
Probably won't. Huh. That's a really good question.
Sean Wade?
No.
Josh Bledsoe? I mean, any of these guys, do they make?
I think some of the guys that we talked about as our goods tonight would be in the conversation. A guy like Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts,
could be one of those guys.
I should have.
Come on,
Sam. Why'd I go with this? Sam, why'd I go with special teams?
Weird. Here's one that's I don't mean this to be mean, and I don't want to necessarily speak ill of anyone. So let me phrase this in the most diplomatic way I can. Who's going to make the team that doesn't deserve to based on this training camp and this preseason? We can come up with all kinds of reasons why they will be here and why they should be here. I'll give you one right now. Bailey Zappi, I don't think deserves to make the team based on his preseason and based on his camp. There was talk early on of a real quarterback battle, but
he's really gone down like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Now, based on what he did last year and based on the fact that you need a suitable backup quarterback, I'm fine with Bailey Zappi being here. This isn't an anti-Bailey Zappi thing, but if you're looking at players and looking at performances from these 3 games and from the weeks in camp leading up, can you say that Zappi earned his spot on the team this year with the way he's been in this training camp?
No, not really. I got a good one. It might be a bit of a deep dive, but Jake Andrews. He was the highest pick of those linemen that they took. It seems like he's just kind of a center. He hasn't really done anything at guard when they've had all these issues. So, of all the guys that they took, I feel like he has to make it because he's a 4th-round pick. But I just don't know how much he can really help them. And he plays along a position of huge need right now, but he's kind of useless because he's probably just a center.
We get really negative?
Yeah.
Juju.
Ooh.
Obviously he's going nowhere.
He's making the team,
but he hasn't really done a whole lot in camp.
I mean, everybody that I respect that's watched has not been impressed with him.
Yeah, and in order to have this be, a real conversation, you have to include guys that are absolutely 100% making the team due to contract, what they've done in the past, everything. But hell, you could Mike Gesicki. I mean,
He did enough. I saw a little bit of him.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, he at least had a
Maybe
flash.
the
And it
days
was
you
after
You saw something in Green Bay.
It was after
No,
you guys
no,
left.
it was a here practice, and there were only a couple. Like,
It was after you guys were
But-
done.
All right, but you saw a little bit.
But he
bit.
did
And in
have
the
a little
spring.
flash.
And in the spring, a little
glimmer.
bit, he looked a little bit more involved. But I know.
In the spring?
Yeah, the OTAs, the mini camps.
He's not. Listen,
Yeah.
when you guys were done doing your shows down here every day of camp, he did have a few days where he was on the uptick.
All right.
But
And
then
then
he got
hurt.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, you're in the ballpark.
I'm not completely out of my mind in saying that.
No,
I mean,
I can understand why, because he had a quiet start, and then all of a sudden he had a couple good days where, it was probably 3-4 catches tops in practice that made you say, oh, there it
And
was.
a couple of really tough catches he made
in
too.
in the red zone.
Did you see much from Hunter Henry in this
Yeah,
preseason?
I think he's had a good camp.
Yeah, camp, but didn't even see him there tonight, and he was one that got a little bit dinged up in practice last week. So that's maybe something
That
to
didn't
think
look
about
good.
too. I didn't see that one.
So he was running a route, and then he kind of like tried to. I think he might have caught a short pass, and tried to like sort of make a move in space, and kind of legs came out from under him, like slipped down. Like
See,
maybe
that
like
would be
like a groin
that
kind
would
of an
be a
issue.
huge problem. That would be a huge problem. Even if Gesicki was healthy, that is a huge problem.
I mean, you need both, and
I forgot about that. On the other side, on the good news, there was another injury at that last practice that we saw on Wednesday. Christian Gonzalez, and he was there tonight in uniform and went through warm up and looked okay based on some short little clips that I saw, and everybody was.
He was kind of jogging around a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought his injury looked like it may be significant toward the end of practice. I thought he was limping pretty badly.
Let's try and end this on a positive note. What have been or what has been the most positive feel good stories from this training camp?
I would just say getting the offense back on track with Bill O'Brien, and I mean, I think Paul laid it out well, though. You didn't really see it translate in the game. I mean, I think Mac played maybe, 3 series, something like that total in those 3 games. So not a huge sample size, but I just think that there's a sense of calm and a focus when you're watching practice that, like, there's a lot going on. There's motion. There's, all kinds of bells and whistles on it. So it seems like they're a competent offense, at least from a playbook perspective. Will they be able to execute that at a high level? That's what we're going to find out here. But I feel encouraged by that. And, I just feel generally encouraged about the defense. I always think they're pretty well coordinated. They've got some good, active, aggressive guys that I like. Love Keon White and what he kind of showed. Hopefully he's, fully healthy. And, I think Christian Gonzalez is going to be a little bit of a process with him. But I like the athleticism. I like having that level of athleticism in the secondary. And I think it will make a difference, even if there's some growing pains with him.
And I do feel, a certain amount of confidence and security with Bill and Steve and Gerard Mayo, coaching these guys up. There doesn't, I don't have any reluctance in terms of, I don't know how this is going to go. Oh no, I feel like they're going to be as coached about as well as they can be, and I think they have enough talent. I think that. Yeah, I think those are 2 good ones. You have the overall positive. Don't be thrown off by the phrase "feel good." I don't want that
Demario
to
Douglas
get you all out of whack.
Demario Douglas would be one that I wasn't expecting a ton from. He's really small, but he's quick, and I think from the first day that we saw him on the practice field, he looked like he belonged.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, it's crazy, but Malik Cunningham. I don't know if it's feel good, but he was one of the better stories, of camp, with providing you with one of the few watchable things in the first preseason game, and then at least giving us something to talk about here and to think about and to wonder about in terms of his usability and whether or not they're going to find a spot for him. And, would he make it onto the practice squad? Would he make a good scout quarterback for the Pats as they're getting ready to face mobile quarterbacks? I don't know if it's feel good, but I think it's been a good story. I'm grateful for that we had that to kind of latch on to there for a few conversations.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Malik.
Thanks, Malik.
Yeah, thanks, Malik. I'm sure they're all listening.
Take us home. Take us home, Hardy.
It's been an absolute hoot, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Hootenanny.
What a gas these Patriots post-game shows have been in this preseason. They're going to get so much better.
Oh, yeah.
And so much more fun.
Intense.
When we return here for what is going to be, you want to talk about a circus. You want to talk about a zoo. You want to talk about the roof getting blown off this place.
We probably shouldn't go golfing that day.
No. The return of Tom Brady to Gillette Stadium, week 1 against the Eagles.
Let's go.
What are we going to be 2 weeks from Sunday? We'll be back here doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 16 days.
All right. So until
Actually,
then,
15 days.
2 o'clock.
Patriots Unfiltered will keep you, entertained right up until then. And until that time, and that Patriots pregame show on that day, the final score for the final time, New England Patriots 7, Titans 23. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.